So what we want to do now is when we go to our application and you hold down the button and select remove, we want to really remove this person. So how are we going to do this? We're going to access our data access object because we need to access the database. So let's just write the code here. Let's just create the student DAO. Oh, sorry, student DAO. And remember, when we create the DAO, we need to pass the context, the activity. So again, since we have a nasty little, not pretty inner class, anonymous class in our case, we have to use student list activity.this. As I said, this is the pattern that we're going to find all over the place. We can improve this later. And then I'm going to set this variable as the DAO. And just create the variable, and that's it. I'm happy with it. And then I'm going to say, please remove this student. And after removing the student, I'm going to close the connection. Remember, if you open the connection, you have to close the connection. I'm going to hit out return here to create the method remove. And when I remove the student, I can again use the b.exec to exec this SQL code that I want, as we did here, or I can use a writable database and then avoid some nasty problems of concatenation and SQL injection. So that's what I want to do, the writable database, please. So let's do the writable database. Let's get the writable database. I'm gonna call it database. And let's get this database here and let's ask the database to delete someone. Please, delete in the students table someone. And what it asks me, let's take a look again. It asks me both for the table name and the where clause, which means who do you want to delete from that table? So I want to delete someone which has this ID, the ID 3, 2, 1, 5, 10, I don't know, this ID. So I'm gonna say, okay, the ID is equals the student ID. Oh, no. If I do something like this, I'm concatenating strings, and then as soon as I do that, I open the door for a SQL injection. Not doing this. I'm saying I'm getting the guy with this ID, and I have no idea what is the ID, and I'm happy with that. Those of you who have used Hibernate or JDBC or any other similar database query language, you have seen this pattern before, that here I'm saying, please replace this value with something else. And then somewhere else, I'm going to say the parameters that I'm going to use are the following. So let's go. String parameters. This must be an array of string. Sorry. So the array of strings is, what is the parameter that I want to pass? Well, there's just one parameter, which is the student. Get ID. Okay, that's the only parameter, but it doesn't exist. Let's create the method. Let's create the getter. It returns an integer. Good. And here I can pass the parameters. So here must be an array of strings. That's why I created an array of strings. But integer is not an array string, so it doesn't compile. So I have to transform this integer into a string. The easiest way to transform an integer into a string without formatting, without adding decimal or something like this or something like the comma or the dot, without using this information, without formatting, just transforming an integer into a string, the easiest way, just concatenate an empty string, and that's it. So it becomes a string. That's the easiest way, straightforward. So our student list activity now removes the student. Let's see if it works. Let's run the application. It asks, do you want to restart the application? The app is already running. Would like to kill and restart? Don't ask again. Restart the application, please. So now I'm saying, okay, please, every time you build, just restart the application. I don't want to keep guessing if it worked or not, trying to read the message, and sometimes it says, yes, it was successful, and it wasn't. Please just rebuild it for me. Okay, so now it's built. I have here Carlos Felicio. I'll try to remove it, and it says removing Carlos Felicio, and it doesn't work. Come on, what did we do wrong now? So remember that when we went to another page, to another activity and came back, we had to reload the data, and we used the onResume method to do so. We used the onResume method to invoke the loadStudents method and reload the information in our view. Well, right now we are not even going to another activity. We are just removing from the database and hoping that someone from high up the skies will just update the activity. Just update. Well, we didn't tell you to update the data. We need to tell you, please update this list for me. So what we do is, in here, we can just invoke the method load students. And that's it. Just update it for me, please. Because we are not switching activities that I need myself to reload the data from the activity. So that's what I'm doing. So I hit run, and let's see what happens when we run the application. It's launching the activity. Oh, it's not there because it was deleted. So it's true, it's not there. So let me add someone else. Let me add a third person, Carlos Felicio again. Carlos Felicio has 4.5. I'll just add it here, and you can see that he's there. And now I'm gonna remove Rodrigo. So I hold down, I select remove, and it's gone. Win. So what we did here was, we implemented the remove functionality through the data access object, which is pretty straightforward. We use the string array, the array of strings as parameters, so we don't run into SQL injection issues. Remember that. Then back into the activity, we create the data access object, remove the student, and close the data access object, close the connection. Finally, we need to update our activity. Since we didn't go to another activity and come back, we need to update ourselves. We need to update the activity ourselves. So that's what we did when we invoked load students.